Hello there, my name is Dominic and this is my small angle grinder. It's 500 watts and I've had a few incidents with this grinder, and that's why I'm making this live video so that I can read the instructions manuals again. I've been somehow stupid and I'm very lucky no major accident has happened to me. So I'm just making this video so that I can read the instructions manuals again and get it through my head to be safe in the future. Now, I just want to read some of the instructions on the packaging before I get to the instruction manual. Following good safety practices when using angle grinders is a must. Make a habit of including safety in all your activities. Always read and understand the tool's operator's manual, tool markings, and the instructions packaged with the accessory before starting any work. Always wear safety goggles or safety glasses with side shields, complying with current national standards, and a full face shield when needed. Use the appropriate mask or respirator in dusty work conditions. Wear proper hearing protection as needed. Crowded, cluttered work areas that can cause tripping or lose of balance are particularly dangerous. Now, I already have some safety items. I have goggles with the side shields as intended. These ones also have that top bevel over here, and they're quite comfortable. Although they are a bit scratched, they do work perfectly fine. I also do have ear shields. These protect against the noise from the grinder and other tools that I have. I can wear this like that, or I can just wear them like this. It's very good because this thing can be bent at the back or at the top. Now, I also have a full face shield, which is this one over here. I have never used this face shield with this grinder. The reason why I bought this face shield is because I also have a circular saw, and that circular saw usually has shavings. It throws shavings everywhere. And I noticed that with that circular saw, even with the goggles, these shavings just enter into the sides. I have another set of goggles, and the shavings just entered anywhere. That circular saw, if you've never seen a circular saw, let me show you from this Inco manual that I have here. This is what I'm talking about. That is what is known as a circular saw. It's for cutting wood. Now, to prevent that, that's why I bought these face shields. And from now onwards, I'm going to be using this face shield with this grinder, because even this usually throws away paint chips, metal chips, and other things. So let me start off by reading the manual, and I will also explain the incidents that have happened to me. And again, I'm very lucky that nothing serious has happened. Work area safety. Keep work area clean and well lit. Cluttered and dark areas invite accidents. Do not operate power tools in explosive atmospheres, such as in the presence of flammable liquids, gases, or dust. Power tools create sparks which may ignite the dust or fumes. Keep children and bystanders away from operating a power tool. Distractions can cause you to lose control. As regards to keeping children and bystanders, like here in Kenya, I always see the welders, they usually operate in like pedestrian footpaths outside with lots of distractions. I don't know how they keep up with no major incidents happening to them, because where I work, I don't have a workshop, I just work outside, but I usually just keep distractions to the minimum. I can't even hear, with this on, you can't even hear anyone talking to you. Keep work area clean and well lit. There was a day I was using this grinder with a stone cutting disc, and that area was dark. That was very stupid of me. I was doing wall chasing so that I can install pipes and do wiring for a building. So never again. I won't do that again. Now, number 2 is electrical safety. Power tool plugs must match the outlets. Never modify the plug in any way. Do not use any adapter plugs with earthed grounded power tools. Unmodified plugs and matching outlets will reduce risk of shock. This is exactly the same power plug that came with my grinder. I've never changed it. although I bought this grinder from game stores, they have long since ended their operations here in Kenya. But I guess this plug, it was a different thing, and they just put this thing together so that they can actually comply with the standards here in Kenya so that they can sell this item in Kenya. I bought this grinder for 2,500 Kenya shillings. I'll also put a link to my unboxing video in this videos in the video description below. Do not abuse the cord. Never use the cord for carrying, pulling, or unplugging the power tool. Keep cord away from heat, oil, sharp edges, or moving parts. Damaged or entangled cords increase the risk of electric shock. When using a power tool outdoors, use an extension cord suitable for outdoor use. Use of a cord suitable for outdoor use reduces the risk of electric shock. I'm an electrician by profession, and I always understand anything to do with electrical safety. Now, that does not include another incident that I had here. This is insulating tape that I used to join these two pieces. It's not supposed to be like this. And again, that's why I'm making this video, so that it can be for my future reference, to not be stupid again. I will explain what happened so that this cable came to be cut in two as we read on the user manual. Number 3 is personal safety. Stay alert, watch what you are doing, and use common sense when operating a power tool. Do not use a power tool while you are tired or under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or medication. A moment of inattention while operating power tools may result in a serious personal injury. I don't use my power tools when I'm sick or anything. I'm usually very sober when operating power tools. Use safety equipment. Always wear eye protection. Again, I will wear this as I'm reading this. Safety equipment such as a dust mask, non-skid safety shoes, hard hat, or hearing protection used for appropriate conditions will reduce personal injuries. It's just that I don't have my safety boots here with me, but I have safety boots. There are some times where I work and something can fall on your foot. With the safety boots, that reduces injuries very much. Another thing that I've never used with my grinder is a dust mask. I used it when I was doing the wall chasing, but for normal grinding paint removal, I've never used it. So I think I'm also going to buy it and be using it, because some of the dust these things produce is usually toxic, especially when grinding galvanized iron. It's never a good idea to breathe in that dust from galvanized iron. Remove any adjusting key. I've skipped one. Avoid accidental starting. Ensure the switch is in the off position before plugging in. Carrying power tools with your fingers on the switch or plugging in power tools that have the switch invites accidents. This happened recently to me, and I usually make a note of always unplugging this grinder from power before I change the tool or adjust anything, either the handle or the shield. You know I'm a newbie and a rookie because I still have my shield on. I've seen people using grinders one-handed without the handle and without the shield. That is very dangerous. I don't think I will ever do that. I will always use my grinder two-handed. Recently, I used it one-handed and I nearly lost something. I'll also explain it in this video. By the way, one thing I also like about this grinder is that this switch is very hard to turn this thing even accidentally on. You can't, that's the switch, and you can't just push it to the front and it works. You have to press it down and then slide it forward. And to turn it off, it's very easy. It's spring loaded. Just tap it like that. I once gave this grinder to someone, another welder, and they couldn't turn this thing on. So I love this thing about that. There is no accidental way that you can turn this thing on. Again, it's hard, but I like it like that, and very easy to shut off. Remove any adjusting key or wrench before turning the power tool on. A wrench or a key left attached to a rotating part of a power tool may result in personal injury. Do not overreach. Keep proper footing and balance at all times. This enables better control of the power tool in unexpected situations. I don't think I've ever done that. Maybe that time I was doing the wall chasing. By the way, this thing runs at a very high speed. This one is designed for 11,500 revolutions per minute. And when it's spinning at that speed, I know it's hard to imagine it, but it's usually very hard to turn it because of the gyroscopic effect. When it's spinning, it's very hard to maneuver it. You just have to use a grinder so that you can understand what I'm saying. When you spin this thing very fast, when it's spinning very fast, it's very hard to turn it 90 degrees. It has that gyroscopic effect, and that can cause it to bind and even skip on the material that you are cutting. So that thing about having proper footing, don't always clamp your materials. One thing I also don't have is I don't have a vise. I think I'll also buy a vise, and since I already have a welding table, I'll buy a vise, attach it, and I will never be freehanding the grinder. I will always use two hands with my grinder. Dress properly. Do not wear loose clothing or jewelry. Keep your hair, clothing, and gloves away from moving parts. Loose clothes, jewelry, or long hair can get caught in moving parts. By the way, recently I saw another Instagram reel, very bad. A lady had her hair caught in a drill and it just ripped the scalp. It was very bad. Now, the thing about loose clothing. Recently, I was welding something, and after welding, with welding, you have leather gloves, and inside those leather gloves, I had another set of gloves. So I had two sets of gloves. After welding, I'm supposed to remove the welding gloves so that I can use the grinder to grind those welds. Well, this time, I didn't. I was stupid. And another stupid thing I did was to freehand the grinder. I know some pros usually do it. I don't think I will ever be doing it again. So I had the piece in my hand and I was grinding it here. With those gloves, this is exactly that same grinding disc. It went through one glove and the other, and I just felt like a little pinch in my finger. That is the wound here. It was very bad looking. I've gone even, I think, more than a decade without wearing any elastoplast or any bandages. And if I just show you off camera, this is another bandage. I had 4 of them. That wound was very bad. I didn't even want to look at it without throwing up or anything. All I could see was the inside of my finger was just white. So also bloody. Funny thing is that it wasn't that very painful. When I had that scratch, I just immediately turned the grinder off and continued to work. Later on, when I removed the gloves, is when I saw how serious it was. So I didn't go to the hospital or anything. I just went to a chemist and bought these bandages, cleaned the wounds, and wrapped it. And this happened some few Saturdays ago. I'm making this live stream on the 20th of November. And this thing, let me check my calendar. Today's the 20th. That incident happened on the 8th of November, 2025. It was on a Saturday because I was working on a bike. By the way, I was working on welding a bicycle seat because I'll be participating in the Red Bull Scramble on the 29th of November, this 2025, I'll be racing a bike. I've already decorated the bike and everything. If you'd like to see those pictures and everything, please go and see my Instagram posts. The link is also in the video description as well. I hope we're going to win with our team. We're decorating the bike as a peacock. So that was the point I was making about loose clothing. I had very loose gloves. I will never grind with those welding gloves again because you can't feel anything. I didn't even feel the blade going through the first glove, the second glove. I just felt a pinch, and it nearly took my finger off. I think I was just very calm. When I had something, I just immediately turned the grinder off. Too bad, I just thought it was a minor scratch because I just continued welding normally, like grinding, welding. It was later on when I removed the two gloves that I saw how serious it was. But it's now fully healed up. I can even do that with my finger. A recent video I did about motors, I was making a motor controller, a motor speed controller. In that video, you will see I have a bandage around my finger. And the last one, in personal safety, if devices are provided for the connection of dust extraction and collection facilities, ensure these are connected and properly used. Use of these devices can reduce dust-related hazards. And now we are in chapter 4, power tool use and care. Do not force the power tool. Use the correct power tool for your application. The correct power tool will do the job better and safer at the rate which is designed. This is something that I learned in high school. In high school, I did woodworking as one of my humanities. And in that class, we were always taught. In college, we also had this subject known as mechanical workshop. And also in that, the first rules, like in any workshop, is always use the correct tool for the correct purpose. If you follow that rule, you will avoid very stupid incidents. Do not use the power tool if the switch does not turn it on and off. Any power tool that cannot be controlled with the switch is dangerous and must be repaired. Also, since I'm an electrician, this grinder was just turning itself on and off. When it was in the on position, it was working, you are grinding well, then it immediately turned off, then turned on. In my mind, I thought that it has a thermostat inside because these tools usually have thermostats. When they overheat a lot, they just turn themselves off so that they can cool down so that it continues to work. But that is also true for this grinder. But I also noticed that recently when it was doing that, the cable was the problem. It had a kink here, and that kink, this cable was disconnecting and connecting. And the last time before I repaired it, it actually blew. I just saw smoke coming from here, and it even tripped the circuit breaker. When I was repairing it, I thought that maybe something with the brushes or the motor was gone, but only to realize it was just the cable. Just cut it, inserted it again, and repaired it. I'm very lucky because electronics and electrical work is what I do. So that was a very simple repair that I did. Disconnect the plug from the power source and or the battery pack from the power tool before making any adjustments, changing accessories, or storing power tools. Such preventative safety measures reduce the risk of starting power tools accidentally. I said it before, whenever I change the disc or the handle or the guard or anything, I always unplug it. That is a very, very simple thing to do, and it can prevent a very serious accident. Store idle power tools out of reach of children and do not allow persons unfamiliar with the power tool or these instructions to operate the power tool. Power tools are dangerous in the hands of untrained users. Maintain power tools. Check for misalignment or binding of moving parts, breakage of parts, and any other condition that may affect power tool's operation. If damaged, have the power tool repaired before use. Many accidents are caused by poorly maintained power tools. Keep cutting tools sharp and clean. Properly maintained cutting tools with sharp cutting edges are less likely to bind and easier to control. I also have another video about the safety of grinders, and in that video I said whenever you see anything wrong with your disc, just snap it in half and discard it. You can avoid a very serious injury just by doing that. not only for you, even another person coming and just inserting, instead of them inserting the disc in the grinder and having a very bad accident, you can avoid that by just snapping the grinding disc in two. Use the power tool, accessories, and tool bits etc. in accordance with these instructions and in the manner intended for the particular type of power tool, taking into account the working conditions and the work to be performed. Use of the power tool for operations different from those intended could result in a hazardous situation. And number 5, service. Have your power tool serviced by qualified repair person using only identical replacement parts. This will ensure that the safety of the power tool is maintained. Again, I'm lucky. This is my line of work. I can easily repair and service this tool. Now we are in safety warnings common for grinding or abrasive cutting of operations. I never realized that this live stream was going to be this long. I can see that I'm already at the 22-minute mark. I think when I finish this part, I will do another part 2 of this same video in a few weeks. This power tool is intended to function as a grinder. Read all safety warnings, instructions, illustrations, and specifications provided with this power tool. Failure to follow all instructions listed below may result in electric shock, fire, and/or serious injury. Again, use the tool for the correct purpose. Operations such as sanding, wire brushing, polishing are not recommended to be performed with this power tool. Operations for which the power tool was not designed may create a hazard and cause personal injury. Again, this is another thing that shocked me because I've been using this grinder with a wire brush. I don't think I read this line here. I've been using it with a wire brush. I've also been using it for sanding. There is that special attachment that I use for sanding that to just attach the sanding paper with like Velcro. I've been using that with this, although it eats up that sandpaper very much. But another thing that I've been using, I think I can use it safely, is a flap disc. I don't know if I can find these things that I'm just mentioning terms here. Flap disc. This is what is known as a flap disc. It's a disc with sandpaper glued around the edges. I don't know if I can see any, and at the bottom here, this is known as a wire cap brush. So these are not intended to be used with this particular grinder. The other thing, I can't see the other sanding attachment that I'm talking about. Yes, those are the only two. I can't see the other one with the Velcro. So from today, I will stop using my grinder with the wire cap brush. Do not use accessories which are not specifically designed and recommended by the tool manufacturer. Just because the accessory can be attached to your power tool, it does not assure safe operation. Again, I will never use that wire cap brush again on this grinder. But a flap disc is safe enough to be used. I also prefer a flap disc to this grinding disc because it's perfect for, I'm not a very good welder, but with a flap disc, I can make very good welds. The rated speed of the accessory must at least equal to the maximum speed marked on the power tool. Accessories running faster than the rated speed can break and fly apart. Again, I also tackled about this in my other safety for grinder videos. The outside diameter and the thickness of your accessory must be within the capacity rating of your power tool. Incorrectly sized accessories cannot be adequately guarded or controlled. That is the thing that is printed on this grinder. If you look at here, grinding wheel diameter, it's 115 millimeters, and the spindle thread is 114, is an M14. So anything that does not fit on your grinder, do not use it. The outside diameter and the thickness of your accessory must be within the capacity rating of your power tool. Incorrectly sized accessories cannot be adequately guarded or controlled. Again, the disc must fit in the guard. If it can't, then it's probably not safe. The bore size of wheels, flanges, backing pads, or any other accessory must properly fit the spindle of the power tool. Accessories with bore holes that do not match the mounting hardware of the power tool will run out of balance, vibrate excessively, and may cause loss of control. By the way, the very first video, the unboxing video that I did, that grinding disc was not meant for this grinder. I noticed later on because it was vibrating too much. I think I will also include that in the video description of that video. Do not use a damaged accessory. Before each use, inspect the accessories such as abrasive wheels for chips and cracks, backing pad for cracks, tear, or excess wear, wire brush for loose or cracked wires. Again, I don't understand. Up here they said you don't use wire brushing, but down here they say check wire brush for loose or cracked wires. If power tool or accessory is dropped, inspect for damage or install an undamaged accessory. After inspecting and installing an accessory, position yourself and bystanders away from the plane of rotating the accessory and run the power tool at maximum no load speed for 1 minute. Damaged accessories will normally break apart during this test time. That is self-explanatory. Especially the position yourself and bystanders away from the plane of the rotating accessory. When you are using the grinder, don't use it like this, because if this thing breaks, it can hurt you. But use it like this. I hope that is clear. Wear personal protective equipment depending on application. Use face shield, safety goggles, or safety glasses. As appropriate, wear dust mask, hearing protectors, gloves, and workshop apron capable of stopping small abrasive or workpiece fragments. The eye protection must be capable of stopping flying debris generated by various operations. The dust mask or respirator must be capable of filtrating particles generated by your operation. Prolonged exposure to high-intensity noise may cause hearing loss. And one other thing I must also say, when I was using my circular saw, it was very loud, and after that time, I think I developed tinnitus. That's why I bought this. I usually have this faint ringing in my ears. I believe it was that single day I used that circular saw, because before that, I never had that problem. But nowadays, it has reduced. Keep bystanders a safe distance away from work area. Anyone entering the work area must wear personal protective equipment. Fragments of workpiece or of a broken accessory may fly away and cause injury beyond immediate area of operation. Hold power tool by insulated gripping surfaces only. When performing an operation where the cutting accessory may contact hidden wiring or its own cord. Cutting accessory contacting a live wire may make exposed metal parts of the power tool live and shock the operator. Now it's time I told you about this cut here. When I was doing that wall chasing, I was very lucky because the tool was bending, it was heating up, it was shutting itself down. When I was doing that wall chasing, like I said, it's very hard to twist this thing when it's on full speed. I don't know what happened. I was in a dark environment, and again, I'm saying that will never happen again. This tool just whipped itself like that in between my hands. It would have been a very bad accident. At that time, I wasn't even wearing any personal protection for my hands. But I've learned my lesson. Right now, I have a leather jacket, long-sleeved leather jacket that together with the gloves, it will protect my hands. So when that happened, that disc came into contact with the cable and it cut the cable in two. So it happened so fast, I could not react. So it whipped over like that, never touched me. I was very lucky. Cut the cable, tripped the circuit breaker. it was very stressful. Again, I'm very lucky. Nothing major happened to me that day. So after that happened, that was the very first incident. After that happened, I kept off power tools for a couple of years because that happened in 2021. We are now in 2025. I just started using this grinder again because of the bike build that I'm doing for the Red Bull Scramble competition. Position the cord clear of the spinning accessory. If you lose control, the cord may be cut or snagged and your hand or arm may be pulled into the spinning accessory. Another thing that I also want to mention is that I was squatting down. I wasn't in the very best position because I was making a hole like for socket outlets, like not for these switches. That's the hole I was making when this incident happened. But I've read a couple of paragraphs before. When you're using power tool, always make sure you have your footing well. In case something happens, you don't have to lose balance or anything, and no major accident will happen. I don't think I will ever use this grinder in a dark environment for wall chasing. I will use it for wall chasing probably next month, but I'll be in a very lit room, and I will also make another guard so that I can properly do it. Or I can just repair another granite cutter that I have. I think I repair that rather than using this. I'll repair that because it also has that depth. With the disc, you don't have that depth, because if you see here, these are signs of that it was going into the stone because it doesn't have a depth gauge or anything. I think I'll just repair that granite. I think it's granite or marble or tile. I think I repair it and use it instead of using this. The only thing I don't have there is electricity, but good things are coming very soon. Stay here, stay tuned. I think I'm at the 33-minute mark. Only like 4 more to go so that I can do part 2 again in the future. Never lay the power tool down until the accessory has come to a complete stop. The spinning accessory may grab the surface and pull the power tool out of your control. Again, that is something that I practice, although not very much, because when you are cutting or grinding, once you are satisfied the cut has been done and you have turned on the tool, it's still spinning, and when you place it down, this can come into contact with the ground or the table, and it can actually whip this tool towards you or towards the cable, which is dangerous. So I always let it stop spinning in my hands, then I place it down or on the workshop table. Do not run the power tool while carrying it at your side. Accidental contact with the spinning accessory could snag your clothing, pulling the accessory into your body. That is also something we learned in college. Don't wear very loose clothes while working with power tools. Regularly clean the power tool's air vents. The motor's fan will draw the dust inside the housing, and excessive accumulation of powdered metal may cause electrical hazards. Do not operate the power tool near flammable materials. Spark could ignite these materials. And that is another thing, because I am not comfortable using this grinding thing, because there is something called as a cold cut saw. A cold cut saw is much safer, does not have any sparks, it does not produce any heat while cutting materials, and it's very accurate. I always struggle to do straight cuts with this grinder, especially those 45s, so that you can weld them into a 90-degree joint. I always struggle with them. If I could only find a cold cut saw here in Kenya, because even by checking this Inco catalog here, they don't sell any cold cut saws. You see this is known as a miter saw. This is for cutting metal accurately at whatever the angle you want. But this blade is also a cutting blade. This is an abrasive type of blade, which the world is moving away from, because nowadays there are blades that look like wood cutting blades. cold cut saw might look something like that. Although this is for wood, a similar one for metal looks like that, and it has hard cutting blades. Some are carbide and some are tungsten. Or in the future, I might get myself, to avoid that accident of having the cable being cut by its own tool, I think I'll buy a cordless grinder. That's something I'm also looking for. Do not use accessories that require liquid coolants. Using water or other liquid coolants may result in electrocution or shock. I've seen tools, especially those concrete hole drilling saws, they usually use water, but don't use water with this tool. It can cause an electrical shock. The above warning does not apply for power tools specifically designed for use with a liquid system. So there are special tools, even saws for cutting concrete, or maybe tiles or stone or granite or marble that use power. They usually have an attachment where you just attach the hose pipe. I think I'll end this video here. I never realized it's going to be this long. I thought it's going to be like 8 or 10 minutes long. I'm seeing I'm going close to 40 minutes long. The rest I'll do in another live stream, just a single page left. So this will be a part 1, and I'll do a part 2 in a few weeks' time. So what is left is kickback and related warnings, additional safety warnings specific for abrasive cutting off operations, and additional safety rules for angle grinders. And at the bottom here, safe use of angle grinders, grinding discs. So that's it. I hope you learned something new today. Like I said, I'm making this video specifically for myself so that I can watch it. If I'm being stupid with this grinder or any other tool again, I think I will watch this live stream again so that I can stop being stupid. That's it. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something new today. If so, please leave a like. If you watched till the end, thank you very much.